Why is it that those who are called to a higher purpose face the deepest battles with lust? It's like a struggle that nobody talks about. But today, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons why. And look, most people never understand number 5 until they're 30. So make sure you watch to the end. 1, you notice more, so it's harder to ignore. When you understand and you're in a lustful state of being, right? You're noticing everything lust has to offer. You're noticing these thoughts that go through your mind, these impulses, and you're trying to sit there and have a normal conversation with a woman without objectifying her, but it's in your head, it's engraved, especially when you're trying to stay focused. This is when this shit hits you, you know? It's harder to ignore. You're trying to stay focused, you're trying to lock in, but the more and more you get focused, it's like it's harder to go about it. It's harder to ignore it because it's so ingrained within your brain. Oh God. You probably know how you can work your magic and work your mouthpiece to go ahead and indulge in lust. Or maybe it's not even that with women. Maybe it's that when you're trying to sit down and do some deep work, but now you keep getting distracted from maybe a video, maybe some ads, maybe you scroll on Instagram, you see somebody, you see a girl with a fat ass, and now you like, oh, and then you go down this mindless, this deep rabbit hole of trying to find more, and guess what that leads you to? That leads you to watching porn. That leads you to watching all these naughty websites that you shouldn't be watching. You should be actually doing your work. And then the more and more you keep on doing it, the harder it is to break it, because lust is a habit. Think about it. You lose your virginity for the first time, or you bust your first nut. Okay, cool. That's like a first high. You see, sex is a drug. Lust is a drug, right? Because you want to keep getting more and more of it, right? And okay, it's already in us as humans to repopulate, reproduce. So now lust, well, guess what lust does? It has you in a state of I gotta keep getting this, this first nut. I gotta keep doing this. It feels good. It's very pleasurable for me. And that was harder to stop. That's why it's so important to be disciplined and truly train your mind to not look at that type of content, to not be indulging in those type of activities. Detox your mind from all of this degenerate bullshit. Dopamine detox is real. That works. So I'm actually about to go on one, because now I feel like I've been in a position lately where I keep on getting distracted by my phone. I'll be scrolling. Sometimes I see some ass. Sometimes I'll go ahead, open a profile. Guess what that leads me to? Watching porn. And hey, I deal with it too, bro. You feel me? I'm better at it now than I used to be, because I used to just be going. I used to be indulging all this lustful activity, all of these different women. I almost get my life took. I'm watching porn. It was a situation I couldn't even get hard because, I watched so much of it the day before, and then the next day when I got up and met with this girl and we supposed to, do the do, which we really shouldn't, we weren't even supposed to be doing, I couldn't even get it up. So this lust is so lucrative to really, you have to train your mind against this. Number 2, isolation makes it harder. Let me tell you something. A lot of people, they think, okay, well, if I can just get away from lust, if I can just isolate myself from, seeing all these women or seeing all this naughty content, cool, I'll be good. That's not enough, because now guess what? Now you're going to be fiending for it even more. It's like you're trying to put a barrier or put this wall, and now it's like that temptation is fighting even harder. It's trying to get inside. It's trying to, I just want to get this nut out. So it sounds so crazy, but that's how it is, especially when you indulge in this type of activity. It's easier said than done, but you have to really train your mind. There's no way around it, right? Because you have to understand that even when you get lonely, even when you get to that point where you're bored, maybe you're laying down, that's when it gets you. It wants you to feel isolated. It wants you to feel like you don't have any control over what's about to happen. It wants you to feel like just give in to your desires, right? That's why it's so important to, occupy your mind with productive things. Not only that, but you actually have to want to stop what you're doing. You have to actually want to stop doing lustful activity. Number 3, greater purpose means greater challenges. Now, when you're called to a higher purpose in life, you have to understand something. The man up above loves that. He wants to support you on your journey. He wants to help you. But the man down below, he wants to tempt you into doing things you're not supposed to be doing. He wants to get you into this lustful state of being. He wants you to drift through life. He wants you to, indulge in all of these sins, especially the 7 deadly sins, one specifically lust. It's one of the greatest killers to men's success when men cannot control their lust, and even women too, I say, but it's way more dangerous for men. You're building a business, you're building your body, you're building something, right? And you're carrying out your purpose. You have to understand that when you're doing that, you ever been to the gym, you're working out, you've been consistent, and out of nowhere that urge just hits you? Why is that? You're becoming more of a target. When you get more and more locked in, more disciplined, more on your shit, more closer to God, and all of these different ways, you're gonna become a bigger target. So, target? What the fuck was that? You're gonna become a bigger target, and now God is gonna be like, okay, he's doing good, but the man down below is like, okay, we gotta get him off his pivot. We gotta throw him off. Let's do this. It's gonna get harder and harder. And I know you're probably experiencing this if you're on your shit, because it may be even harder to focus. It may be even harder to, you go outside, or you go to this little function. You're not trying to, indulge in no lustful activity with these women. You really trying to stay locked in. You trying to stay on your shit, but you keep getting distracted. Maybe you get distracted by that woman in the red dress. That woman in a red dress. Maybe you with your girl, right? That's where cheating can happen. When you over here, you trying to chill with your girl. You trying to be a faithful man. You trying to abide by, God's plan. You trying to do everything you can to stay in good standing with everything, but you let that lust slip in, and now you looking not at your girl, but at that next woman in a red dress. Nah, you gotta control that. You can't let it get in, because that's when it gets in, it's hard to get out. It's hard to get out. No matter how you try to go about it, it's gonna be harder and harder to get out, because it's like 21 to 22 days for something to become a habit. When you've been indulging in lust your whole life, that's a hard ass fucking habit to break, especially if you keep on doing it. This is a drug that's not talked about. I feel like people always talk about weed, liquor, and all these different substances. What about lust? I feel like lust is one of the most strongest drugs out of them all. Because why? It's deeply ingrained within us as humans. To reproduce this earth, it's already ingrained in us. We already have the thought. I just had to say, hey, you gotta control your mind. Drop 100 in the comments down below if you made it right here. 3, a greater purpose means a greater challenge. You gotta overcome that challenge if you really want to be the person worth having it all. What's that quote? Strong enough to have it all, so we could take it. Next, 4, emotional wounds can lead to temptation. Maybe you just got your heart broke. Maybe you just got your feelings hurt. Whatever the case may be, that's when lust also slips in. Because guess what? Now you're in isolation. Maybe you want to go ahead and keep going to the gym. Now you want to lock in. Now you want to do this. But you have to understand that lust will try to slip in and try to fill that void, that empty void inside of you where you're feeling hurt. That's why emotional wounds can cause that temptation to slip in. Now you're going to go ahead. Oh, I just got my heart broke. Fucking, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to talk to this girl. I'm going to talk to this girl. Maybe you think that's going to be a way for you to get back at that individual. Or maybe that's a way for you to go ahead and cope with your current reality. Or maybe you want to go in and watch Korn to go ahead and relieve the feeling of emptiness and loneliness, because you feel like you just need to be in the presence of a woman. And the whole time, you're not even in the presence of a woman if you're watching Korn. You're in the presence of a phone, pixels on the screen. Think about that. It gets to the point where you have to really sit there and be like, wow, this is my current reality. I've let lust come into my life because I was at a low stage. I was feeling my lowest. I was hurt emotionally. I felt like nobody was here for me. I was lonely. I'm going to let it come into my life and destroy me? You got to say no. You can't let that shit do that to you, man. It's okay to be lonely. It's okay. You don't have to always have, people around you, but you don't always have to be attached to somebody else's, presence. Why can't you be okay by yourself? Why can't you be okay with who you are as a person, sitting with your thoughts? Why can't you be alone? How are you going to try to go out and find somebody else and try to love on them if you can't even love yourself? This goes back to self-love, right? But let's get into the final point of why people called to a higher purpose struggle with lust. This is the last and final point. Spiritual strength needs physical discipline. Getting your body on right, getting your mind right, that mental strength. You have to make sure your mind is on point. That's where it attacks. Lust, okay, maybe it can attack you physically if you're sexually harassed, God forbid. But lust slips in, it goes through the mind, right? That's where it goes. So now you have to control your mind, control your thoughts to control what you're going to do. Because this is how it works. Your thoughts then turn into actions, right? Those actions then turn into habits. Those habits then form a behavior. And that is your current reality. That's how it starts. And that's how it ends. And that's how it's going to continue to go. So knowing that, you have to protect what goes up here. You have to protect this if you want to experience all of what's out in this physical world. You have to make sure that you are tuned in mentally, right? Okay, cool. But not just that. Start getting in the gym. Start going ahead and making sure that you're staying active and being healthy, because that's a part of self-love. You got to take care of yourself, right? You have to be disciplined. Discipline is so important, because how the fuck are you going to go ahead and win? How are you going to win? How are you going to escape lust? How are you going to do all of these things that you say you want to do if you're not disciplined? So if you want to truly master your mindset, overcome your lust, go ahead and join my school community. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're doing. And turn on post notifications, because I'm going to be posting every single day.